80% of the high-value residents are coming from England, and what they're looking for is that balanced lifestyle where they can spend time with their family and friends, travel to the UK seamlessly with our fantastic connections, and enjoy the lifestyle of being back, in the evening if they want with their families. But I've seen over the years, I've seen some extremely wealthy people come to the island and just settle in. And when they're spoken about, people have no idea as to their level of wealth. And I think that's the supreme compliment in a way to both them and their behaviour, but also the island. When we're in our shorts and t-shirt, we all look pretty much the same. I think the respect each has for the other is certainly there.
That's fascinating. So welcome to the channel. I'm so delighted to be welcomed here on such a beautiful island, and that is Jersey. It's the largest Channel island. It's such a beautiful island, and I've always enjoyed.
Well, coming from the sister island, Guernsey, I imagine it's compare and contrast all the time. But we're delighted to have you here. Delighted to help you in any way I can, and hopefully assist your viewers.
That's the key thing for us, is to kind of educate others on, I'm looking to relocate. There's so many beautiful Channel islands. How can I relocate to Jersey? What are the rules? What's the process? Tell us more, please.
To begin with, Relocate Jersey is part of the government, but we're there essentially to attract high-value residency families and businesses to the island. We're a government service, we're a free service, we're confidential, and we're independent. So we're what I would call a sophisticated signposting system. So the kind who's interested in coming to Jersey will hopefully get in touch with us directly.
Yeah.
At times that could be anonymized and through their lawyer, their family office, whatever, but get in touch with us and we will then provide the information to the pathways.
What does high value residency mean in numbers and facts and figures for normal people?
Very simple. We're looking for, and I talk a lot in terms of threes. In terms of high value residency, we're looking for three very distinct things.
Yeah.
We're looking for people of character, impeccable character, reputation, etc. We define it in financial terms as plans who have in excess of £10 million, excluding their property, certain degree of liquidity, etc., and annual worldwide income that's both comfortably and sustainably in excess of 1.25 million per annum.
Wow.
Our personal tax is 20% on that first 1.25 million.
Yeah.
Everything above that is taxed at 1%.
Okay.
It's not all about personal tax. In fact, it's not all about tax, but we are a low tax, highly regulated jurisdiction. So if you look at the other taxes, which may or may not be important to our clients, 0% inheritance tax, 0% capital gains tax, and then what we call a 0-10 corporation tax. Those in the financial services regulated space, banks, trusts, etc., we pay 10% corporation tax. All other businesses, 0%. So at the minute, we're seeing a lot of interest from digitally companies, medtech, fintech, edtech, retailers, of course. They would pay 0% on their corporation tax.
So there's lots of financial benefits, and I know from my own experiences with working with journalists, many people have the misconception that the Channel Islands are tax havens. They're not. They're beneficial tax status, one should say.
Nobody's going to move somewhere and live an unpleasant lifestyle, as it were, simply to save some tax. Many of my clients that come to Jersey are actually paying more tax here than they would in the UK. So if you look at our client mix, 80% of the high-value residents are coming from England. 79% of them haven't yet celebrated a 60th birthday. So our client profile is probably a couple with one or two children.
In their 50s.
Their 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
Increasingly with the fund managers younger than that age. And what they're looking for is that balanced lifestyle where they can spend time with their family and friends, travel to the UK seamlessly with our fantastic connections with the EasyJet, Blue Islands, etc., and enjoy the lifestyle of being back, in the evening if they want, with their families, with the kids, to bed, all of the things that we all cherish with families. For the most part of the 20 families a year that we're attracting, they divide into two distinct categories. The first category would be the financial services, so fund managers, venture capitalists, the single family office, etc. For those people, that 1% above the 1.25 million is certainly attractive. So if you're earning 2, 3, 4, 5 million with dividends and bonuses and that 1% is attractive. For the other half, though, of the clients coming, they tend to be entrepreneurs. They've got their own business. That could be digital, it could be technology, marketing, event space, whatever it is. And for the most part, they are the owners of the principles of the business. So they're unlikely to be taking those very large salaries. What they're doing is building their business, possibly with a view to an IPO or a sale stage. So for those clients, more often than not, they will actually end up paying more tax in the Channel Islands, but what they get is that balanced lifestyle.
That's fascinating.
Every day is so interesting because I divide my role into three distinct parts. So there's what you might call the proactive marketing, reaching out for advertising, visiting intermediaries and clients, primarily in the UK. The second part then is responding to the clients as they approach us, helping them with their advisors. And we have a very detailed onboarding process where we seek 7 pieces of information. So there's a letter of application, copy of their passports, police clear record from the UK, 2 personal and 2 business references, and then we want to see their asset statement with source of wealth evidence, and finally income projections and tax returns for the last 3 years.
Wow, very comprehensive.
Very comprehensive, but in engaging with that client through that process, so the client is sharing information with us, but we're making that journey to Jersey, as I call it, seamless, friendly, and at every stage, the more we know about the client, the more value we can add. And then the third part of what we do, and that's where I believe we really are in our spurs, is engaging with the client to help them integrate into island life.
I think that's so important. I think the integration aspect, from my own experience of living in different parts of the world, is if you don't integrate, you don't stay.
That assimilation into island life is, as you say, so important. And what we haven't done intentionally is created a sort of a platinum club or a gold member club for our clients. They want to integrate into island life. So we do a number of events. We'll take some of our clients, for example, to a Chamber of Commerce lunch or an IOD breakfast, that kind of thing in the business community. But also we work very, very closely with the private sector and on their behalf invite some of our clients to the events they're doing. But all of those events will be managed by the private sector companies for their clients to integrate their clients, but also then peppering that with some of our clients. So, what a lovely way to be integrated into the island in that first and second year, meet people.
I think for me, you can also come and be completely anonymous, because people sometimes have a very busy life. They may have a high profile existence, celebrity fame, etc. But being in the island, you can come and be anonymous, but no one really cares.
Nobody cares, and it's true. Many of our clients they're extremely wealthy, don't particularly show it, don't want to show it, can be extremely generous, of course, but for the most part, anonymized. But I've seen over the years, I've seen some extremely wealthy people come to the island and just settle in, and when they're spoken about, people have no idea as to their level of wealth. And I think that's the supreme compliment in a way to both them and their behaviour, but also the island, that we're not making them feel overly special, or we're not falling over them because of their wealth, or we're not knocking on their door every other Friday. When we're in our shorts and t-shirt, we all look pretty much same. It's a greet.
It is, Lauren. Always.
I've seen with many of my clients, they'd maybe joined the triathlon club or the cycling clubs or the open water swimming clubs as we're looking out into the harbour. Those kind of things, they're great levelers. I think the respect each has for the other is certainly there.
Are there rules in terms of, let's say, I don't know, I'm a Monegasque resident, or I'm a Swiss national, or I'm a European. How does that work with sort of post-Brexit?
We're looking for keepers, as it were, people who are going to integrate. The process itself, 15 a day for us to work through the aforementioned 7 pieces of information. The final decision makers are 5 of our government ministers. We always say to the clients, the Jersey bit is actually the easy bit.
Yeah.
What you need to be very careful of is making sure that the jurisdiction that you're leaving in good faith and you're closing down everything. We don't do a day count in Jersey. But what we would say to anybody is, unless you're spending more than 185 days on the island, consider somewhere else. With the exception of what I refer to as our international businessmen and women. So if you're a fund manager with one of the very large funds, you got your own marketing or digital company, wherever your base is, you're probably going to be traveling a lot from that base. So for those people, they could be spending a number of days a month in the UK, wherever. So they're not spending any more time there than they would be in Jersey.
That's absolutely fascinating to educate us all on so many processes and things that are so important to relocating to Jersey.
LocateJersey.com is our website.
Yep.
Fully up to date with all of the relevant information, all of our contact details. But to repeat once again, we're a free service, we're a confidential service, we're an independent service. So albeit that people are engaging with government, nothing to worry about in terms of we sharing information with anybody. And we really can be on that journey to Jersey, that critical partner with the client and their families, of course, to make everything work out smoothly.
Superb. Thank you so much, my friend.